Good morning and welcome to Real Estate Radio with Kelly Warren and Associates. I am Kelly Warren and I'm in the studio this morning with my co-host, Handsome Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are things for you today?
I'm a little nervous.
Why?
Well, because normally you say, I'm just going to throw this on Jim and we're going to see if he can talk about it. Like he usually doesn't know. But usually like that morning I start to get an idea of it.
Oh.
Today I have
You've
no
idea what we're talking about?
No idea.
Well, you know what? First, for our little chit-chat segment here, like before we get into the meat of Real Estate Radio,
our
just the
banter.
Kelly and Jim show.
Yeah, the banter part.
So I was going to ask you how your diet has been going.
Amazing, except I haven't had any drinks. But other than that, amazing.
So
I look good. I feel okay. Like I don't feel any better, but I'm down a few pounds.
So if you're listening on the radio right now, you can't see us, and you may not know that we are both overweight. so we're trying to fix that. So we've been doing this whole, just clean eating diet.
Yeah, working out and exercising.
No carbs, no sugar, no fried foods,
oh, you're talking
no
about
alcohol.
Like that one, like the thing we just
big,
started. Like yeah, that's not fun.
So far so good though.
Yeah, I mean it's serving its purpose, but the second I put a cheeseburger in my mouth, it's all going right back up.
Don't put a cheeseburger in your mouth. That's the easy answer for that.
I just won't put a cheeseburger in my mouth every day.
Okay.
Just some days.
So they didn't come here to hear about our diet.
Okay.
So our listeners today are tuning in to hear about real estate right here in the Mahoning Valley. And if you have real estate questions, what is so funny about that?
We're just off the wall some days.
Yes, you are. I'm not going to take that as we. You are off the wall.
It's definitely us.
So if you're tuning in to hear about real estate and you have any real estate related questions, you can always send them to us at askkelly@kellysoldit.com. You can also give us a call or a text at 330-717-2689 or find us online at kellysoldit.com.
Cool. kellysoldit.com. I forgot my punchline.
I bring him here for one thing.
kellysoldit.com. This is Barry White representing kellysoldit.com.
So anyhow.
It's not really. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I could get in trouble.
I don't know.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So I'm trying not to say today, and there was one already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. This will be fun. Do you want me to count them? I'll take tally marks.
Yeah, you do a little tally thing.
Okay, deal.
Okay, anyhow.
So that's one.
Our first, what we're going to talk about is, there we go, first-time home buyers and mistakes that they can avoid. So really, buying a house the right way, things that you can look out for when you're a first-time home buyer, and some tips for our first-time buyers out there.
That's a very good suggestion.
Yes, we had, I'm not going to read all the listeners' questions this week, but we had several that were all about the first-time buyers and are there any grants available and what does my credit have to be and what is my down payment, and so put together a couple things that might help answer those questions.
Yeah, so first of all, always contact us. Go to kellysoldit.com or call us.
That's the number one correct step. Call us.
But we know where to send you and what to do and how to get you down the right path for all the other steps that are going to need to be taken. And there's a bunch of them.
So more and more first-time buyers pop into the market every year. Our parents and our grandparents and those generations were first-time buyers at one point. And so now it seems like the generation that is the first-time buyers are the millennials because they're the younger buyers in the marketplace right now.
They have been for a couple years now.
Yes. That's not saying that somebody in their 40s or 50s doesn't finally decide to buy a house and be a first-time buyer. So this is for any first-time buyer out there.
Right.
Or even if you're a second or third-time buyer and you're thinking, I'm going to sell my house and buy another house right now. These are some tips for anybody to enjoy and to avoid.
Well, here's the funny thing. Let's say you've lived in a house for a decade or 2 decades. A lot of things have changed since then, since the last time you've bought a house. So you can have a lot of different things that you went through before that you didn't remember, and the things you went through before could have changed. Technology is 100 times different than it was 10 years ago.
Right.
So buying a house can be completely different.
Right. And
So
a lot
it's
of times
crazy.
as a first time buyer, you're probably listening to the advice of friends and family members and parents and things like that. And the things that they're telling you might have been what was, when they bought their house in the 80s, that's not the same as today. So one thing that I really can credit this generation and these current first time homebuyers with is I feel that they're a much more educated buyer group. They're coming into us with, you guys have the internet at your fingertips. So they're coming to us knowing more about the homes, more about the market, more about what's out there.
Right.
And so really, and a good clear picture generally of what they want in a house, which I like that. I know some agents are like, oh, they're so picky, but tell me exactly what you want. You're only buying one house. Let's find you that one right house,
right. Well, and again, like you said, the education aspect of it, we are now selling homes to a generation that has all the knowledge in the world at their fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
So our parents didn't have that. We didn't have that when we bought our first house.
Right.
So it's really, in my opinion, a blessing that they have that ability, because then they are better protected and prepared to move forward.
So I think the first step for any buyer, and particularly first-time buyers, is really figure out how much you can afford. How much of your income can you put towards a house payment? Now, the bank is going to have their own income to debt ratio, and this is how much they want to lend you.
Right.
But you, as the homeowner, because sometimes the bank might give you a pre-approval letter for $250, but maybe you really are only comfortable spending $200 because, hey, if you want a vacation every 6 months, or if you want to eat out every day or something, whatever your lifestyle is. So how much are you comfortable with of your income being a house payment? And you also, of course, want to figure out the taxes, the insurance, the utility bills, everything that is associated with the house payment.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like you might pay rent right now and pay $900 a month. And you're like, okay, I can afford a $900 a month rent payment or house payment. It's not the same. Because now not only do you have to make that house payment, you're still responsible for everything else. Where before you weren't. Where before if the roof went bad, the landlord had to fix the roof. But now if the roof goes bad, you got to fix that roof. So you have to be prepared for that kind of stuff. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize that. So knowing what you can and can't afford does matter.
And the key word is what you can comfortably afford.
Correct.
For you to maintain your lifestyle, what is comfortable in your budget. There's no sense in us going out and looking at a bunch of houses without you knowing what you can afford, because we'll start looking at higher priced houses that you may not be comfortable in that budget. You're going to fall in love with something and you're going to find out that it's not the right house for you financially.
Right.
Some other things to take into account are you basing this off of both? Jim is making tally marks about my ums.
You've said one. That's the first one I've heard since we've started.
Okay, you've got 3 marks over there.
Well, the first 2 you got.
Okay. So the what was I saying? You lost my train of thought. That's why I say it.
Don't pay attention to me.
You wrote down another one. Okay, so what I was going to say is, take into account, are you basing this payment that you're comfortable with on just your income or your partner's or your spouse's? What happens if that relationship goes south? Do you still have a place that you're comfortable to live in, or are you building something that you'd need to then sell if things didn't work out?
Right.
What if you had a job loss or a job change, So think about what's in your savings and what your future holds as far as what you can do today.
Right.
What is comfortable for you in the long term is something that I'd encourage you to look at.
Even if you're in a relationship, a good thing is to do a quarter of one of those person's income.
Right.
Because then that way you can both afford it, or of the total house income. That way you can both afford it if something happens to the other party.
Well, and even not if the relationship breaks up or losing a job, but you're a young married couple, you have no kids right now, you move into the house a year later, you end up having a baby, and you want to stay home and take care of your child for a year or 2. Can you do that on one income?
Right.
So those are things that you might want to consider about your short to long term future. What's the next 3, 5, 7 years look like before you jump into this mortgage payment.
Yep.
Some easy things for you to do to be able to track that are the mortgage affordability calculators. You can find those online at like every website, and just play with some numbers. And then of course, give us a call, 330-717-2689, or
KellySoldIt.com.
okay. And we'll get you in touch with an actual local loan officer that we know and trust, that we can have start running a plan for you as well.
Correct.
So another tip for our first time buyers is not to just get one quote. So when you're talking to lenders, maybe you want to talk to more than one. Maybe you want to see what's out there. Now, you don't want to go do a full credit run with everybody in town, because that's not good for your credit either. But shopping for a mortgage, just like any other expensive item, you want to make sure that you're getting a good deal on it.
Right. You want to make sure you're still getting the best deal no matter what.
It pays to compare. And you want to ask not just about what their rates are, but what are their closing costs, and are there any other fees in there? Maybe you want to ask them about discount points and buying things down, stuff like that, that will make a difference on your long-term payment.
Exactly.
So my next thought is, prior to actually getting into the full-on purchase mode, one tip that you can really do that'll take control of your situation is know your own credit. So a mistake to avoid would be not knowing your credit or checking your credit report. You as a person and as a buyer are entitled to get a free credit report each year from all 3 of the major bureaus. You can dispute any errors that you find, and you would know what's on there, what's my score, what am I looking at. If it says that you've had, you missed a car payment or something, you want to be aware that you don't have those things. And you also want to be very particularly aware of no non-sufficient funds on your bank account in the last 90 days. So be very careful and
Probably
clean in your
2
banking.
years,
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be, when you're going to buy a house, you have to be very particular about your finances. And your finances does involve your credit score. You need to know what's on there and what's going on and how you can fix it and adjust it. Again, a lot of the lenders we deal with can help you down this path a lot. So it's one of those things that you need to be on top of.
Yes, a good loan officer can help you if there's something that's a dispute. Say that you're a junior and you've got the same name as your father, and something was on his credit, a bankruptcy or a repossession or something that has now transferred onto your credit by mistake.
Right.
You need to write a letter into the credit bureaus and get that removed, and a good loan officer can point you in the right directions to help you do that. You can also Google it and do it on your own if you're doing these things pre-buying phase.
Yeah, exactly.
So another tip to consider is making the right size down payment for you. You don't want to make a down payment that's too small, or on the flip side, a down payment that's too large. The amount of your down payment is going to directly impact the amount of your monthly payment. So when we were talking at the beginning about having an affordable monthly payment for you, you can make that a payment more affordable with more or less money down.
Yep.
I would say you don't want to put all of your savings, all of your reserves into your down payment. You want to make sure that you reserve some cash on hand for, of course, when you move in, there's going to be a project that you want to do, or new furniture or whatever, and just a rainy day fund in general.
Right, that's always a good rule of thumb.
You can do 20% down on a home. If your parents are telling you save 20% down, you don't need to these days. You certainly can. It's a smart decision, but we can get people in with 3.5% down on conventional VA. There's 5% and 10% conventionals. The FHAs are 3.5% down. What else is there?
Talk to your parents about it. I mean, obviously, if they're telling you to do the 20%, I'm a big believer that you always listen to your mom and dad. Kel doesn't agree.
Why?
Kel's always like, yeah, I'll ask for permission, or I'll ask for forgiveness after I get permission.
So
Whatever
bigger
it
down
is.
payments let you have a smaller mortgage, giving you more affordability. However, like we said, the larger down payments sometimes will eat up that money that you may need for cash on hand for something else in the future. So just really look at your entire financial situation and make sure that you're putting together a good plan before you move into this major move.
Right. And that's the thing with finances and with down payments and stuff like that. That's one of those things that's, you can easily get away with only putting 3.5% down and saving your savings. So if there is an emergency, and have a good house payment, just depending on what price you want to be at. So that's why you need to know all of this stuff and figure it out before you actually purchase a home.
in our listener questions on the askkelly@kellysoldit.com emails, one was specifically about, are there any first-time homebuyer programs available? So I wanted to hit on that as well, for buyers to be aware of what is available for first-timers. A lot of times people think that FHA is the first-time buyer program, and it is. It's a great program for first-time buyers, but it is available to anybody at any time as well. You can't have 2 FHA mortgages at once, but you can sell your home with this FHA mortgage and take out a new FHA mortgage the next day. So It's for any buyer. There are some grants, sometimes available through different banks or organizations. I am gonna strangle you.
I'm trying to do it so
very
you can't
non-discreetly.
see me.
I see you. Just go ahead and make big check marks. I see you. I'm not gonna look at him anymore. Okay.
So most people say when they see me.
Handsome Jim. Why would they say that to Handsome Jim?
It's all myth. We could call me that because we're on the radio.
Oh, I'm reading a stat here. 11% of millennial homeowners say that they regret not making a bigger down payment. So 11%, yes. So maybe you do want to consider putting a little bit more of that savings down.
Well, the problem is you build equity when you put down your down payment, and that equity is a buffer against emergencies.
Right.
If you need to get out of the property or things like that. So that's why all this stuff matters.
Yeah. So the first-time home buyer programs, give us a call, because when there are programs available, different banks and organizations that have them, they always give us a call and let us know that they are offering them so that we can pass it on to our clients. So if it's something that you're looking for, make sure you reach out to us and we'll help you find it. So you can do that by calling or texting us at 330-717-2689 or visit us online 24/7 at
kellysoldit.com.
I want to touch on our home picks of the week.
Okay, am I going first?
Yes, you go first.
This one is beautiful. I'm looking at it and I'm reading over it like, this is gorgeous. So the address is 5125 Kennedy Road, and that is Lowville 44436. So it's around like the Poland area.
Go ahead.
Your phone's going off. What are you doing over there? So it's around like it's Poland Schools, Poland Township, and it is amazing. It is 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Look, no, I'm saying no. Every time I read something, I say
Okay, see, it's not just me.
Do I get to tally mine towards yours?
No.
But this house is beautiful. It is huge. It's got a giant yard, almost 4 acres. The front of it has a beautiful wraparound porch, which I love and would love to have one at my house one day if Kelly ever buys me one. But I don't know.
I would buy you a wraparound porch.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just not out in the boondocks. I want like local, in the city.
Gorgeous. This one's close to the city. This one's 5 minutes from everything.
Whatever.
Oh man.
Okay, so another great thing about that house is that it has the big kitchen, the second kitchen. So it's got the kitchen in the house, but the seller of that house does baked goods. So she has a large building in the back with an additional kitchen. So, yeah.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yes, that is a hot feature over there.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for really any kind of business, it doesn't have to just be a kitchen, any kind of home business you could use that space for and just kind of tweak it to make it your own, of course.
Yeah. You said it has an extra building on this one?
Let me see. 5125 Kennedy Road for $334,900. It has.
I should have said the price.
Yes, you should have said that. Heated 2-car attached garage with an additional 3-car garage, currently set up as a wood shop with a 220 electric, and then it's got the additional large kitchen for the bonus room, baking room with cabinets, double oven, refrigerator, sink, all of that in the extra kitchen. This house is 3 bedrooms, all on the second floor.
So what you're telling me is the husband and the wife can go out to the extra garage and the kids could have the house.
Yes.
That actually, in our relationship, doesn't sound bad. I don't mind hanging out with you.
As long as the kids aren't do you mind hanging out with them?
Sometimes.
So tell me square footage and acreage on this one. Do you see
it? It was 3.8 acres.
3.8 acres. I like that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. The square footage is 2390, so almost 2,400 square feet.
Okay, and that's in that Lowville area, right where Lowville and Pullen meet. Do you see the school district on there?
It's Pullen Schools,
Pullen Schools,
Township.
yes,
Yep.
perfect. Okay, and I am pulling up one right now. I realized I printed the wrong one, so I am.
Oh, that's funny.
That's what I'm doing over here. That you've got me all.
That's why I heard your
flustered.
phone and you were going crazy.
Yes.
So, and now you're not, you usually
Here
tell
it
me
is.
how great my house is, and
Yes.
like you weren't helping me this
That
time. So I
house
was
is
nervous.
great. It's fantastic.
I was
I've got you
nervous.
distracted. This house is really fantastic too. Brand new on the market this week. 2388 Country Lane in Pullen Township, Strother Schools. So that one that you just talked about, Lowville Township, Pullen Schools. Now we're in Pullen Township with Strother Schools. So we're all over the place. Anywhere that side of Mahoning County, you call us. We're your people.
We're your people.
This one is listed at $189,900, so very affordable. This is the original owners selling this, covered front porch. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-story colonial, very traditional house, 2-car attached garage, 2,500 square feet. Nice corner lot, so you've got a big backyard there. Full basement that is unfinished but very usable, so it could be finished into anything you need if you want that bonus space for any reason. It does have a family room addition. Again, this is new on the market in Struthers Poland area with 2388 Country Lane in Poland for $189,900. If you are interested in saying either of these houses, you can go online to check them out at kellysoldit.com.
What? I was supposed to say kellysoldit.com. Now you just messed up my
Or
whole
you
mind.
can give us a call or a text to schedule an appointment at 330-717-2689.
T-Bone, I don't know how I'm supposed to work in all this pressure. Like she's supposed to be consistent.
I'm not bringing you next week. Okay, another tip for our home buyers, we'll flip back over to that,
Okay.
is this is one that I wanted you to talk about, whether or not to pay the discount points.
It depends. So I'm real big on the numbers, and the lower that interest rate number can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And if I spend an extra $3,000 today and buy down 0.5% of interest, that can over 30 years or 15 years or whatever it is save me $15,000 or $20,000. So buying down your points can be useful. Is it always? No, not always, because there's a line where it's not worth buying down the points, because whether I spend $10,000 now to only get 0.5%, or it's going to cost me $10,000 over the 30 years, then it's not worth it.
Well, so what I see with them a lot of times in loans is it's a good idea to buy down points to a certain point.
Correct.
You can't buy it down to 0. You could, it costs you the whole loan price,
No,
I'm sure.
you can't.
You can't?
No, the
Okay.
banks won't allow it.
Okay.
You can only buy it down so much.
So you can only buy down so much, and at a certain point, it makes sense to buy it down, and at a different point, it does not make sense to buy it down. So to pay a couple $1,000s to take off, you know, 0.5 point, 1/4 point, 3/4 point, a point, okay, but to take off 2 points and spend all this money doesn't make sense.
Right.
So those are some things that you want to talk to with your loan officer as well. Where does it make
Exactly.
sense and where does it not? Another good tip along that same lines, because you're talking about money over such a long period of time, you can buy a $50,000 house and over 30 years end up paying $150 for it. But something that you want to talk to about is, do you want that 30-year mortgage? What about a 15-year or a 20-year mortgage?
Right. So our first mortgages were 30 years. But then you don't really build up the equity fast enough, and then it's not very beneficial moving forward. Our last couple houses, we've done 15 years because then I feel like we're building the equity faster. Not only that, we always pay a little bit extra on our house payment because, again, building that equity.
It's like money in the bank. It's a savings account for you.
Well, not only that, it's a safety thing.
Yeah, safety.
I
net,
look
yes.
at it like a safety for the family. God forbid something happened to the entire economy and I have to get rid of my house for some reason, like my job or whatnot. I need to have as much equity in it as possible to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So that's my personality though. You have a completely different personality. You're like, buy a bigger house if you can afford more.
I love a bigger house. All right, so I have 3 minutes left and I have 4 more very important tips that I want to go over for first time buyers. So yep, we're gonna fly through these. Biggest, most important thing that I can tell anybody listening today is when you were in the process of buying a house and you are under contract and you're getting your mortgage, the most important mistake to not make is do not go apply for any other type of credit.
At all. Nothing.
Like,
not a car.
If you go buy a car while you're in the middle of getting a mortgage, you better be prepared to live in that car, because you will not get the mortgage if you go in the middle of it and do something else.
Yeah, because what happens is the bank says something new has happened, we cannot proceed, you lose the contract on that house will then go back on the market and be sold to somebody else.
I feel like we run circles around this too, because we'll tell people this, and I know the loan officers tell people this, and then my clients will be, on social media like, look at the new furniture I just bought for the new house, no money down, and I'm like, no,
right.
Where are you gonna put that couch now?
Right. Right, you're gonna have to live in the box that couch came in.
Very careful to not touch your credit during your mortgage process. So just be, the day you close, go buy all the new furnitures and cars you want. Until then,
I still don't recommend that, but you can then.
Another one that I have, another important tip is shopping for a house before shopping for a mortgage. I think it's very important that you shop for your mortgage first. You want to know how much you're comfortable with. You want to know about your down payment. You want to know if there's any hiccups on your credit. You want to talk to different loan officers and get interest rates and closing costs, and then shop for the house.
Right, because then you know what you're looking at and what you're supposed to be looking at, and it makes you more comfortable.
I know it's more fun to go drive around with us and look at pretty houses all day than it is to talk to a loan officer about numbers. But let's start with the numbers and then go look at the houses. My next important tip is to know and understand the cost of home ownership.
Yes.
Not just with the house payments, but you do not want to be surprised by the monthly bills that come along with it. Gas, electric, insurance, your cable bill, your phone bill, if those are things that you have at home. If you have a pool, how much is that going to cost to run you? Anything like that. So be aware and be sure that you know these things before getting into it.
Yep.
And right alongside with that, my final tip for you is don't miscalculate repair and renovation costs. You get into a house and you think it needs a little bit of work. I'm going to put on a new roof. It's going to cost $3,000. A new roof is not going to cost you $3,000.
No. Those were the good old days.
You think you're going to do a little kitchen remodel. Everything that you think you're going to do is going to cost you more money and more time than you had allotted for it.
Always.
So give yourself at least that 20-25% buffer on any of those home renovation projects. I thought you were
calling me Bob. I was like, who's Bob?
Bob, give yourself a buffer. I'm trying not to say
So you call me Bob?
Right, that's what you get.
CT-bound? I don't know what I'm going to do with this.
Handsome Bob in the studio today, talking about real estate radio.
All right.
Settle down over there, Big Jim.
T-Bone's getting mad at us. Let's go.
All right, that's all we've got for you today, folks. So if you are thinking about buying your first home, we would love, love, love to talk to you. First-time buyers are our very favorite. We love all of our clients, but there's a certain joy and satisfaction when you are working with somebody who's doing this for the first time. It's a huge step in life, and it just gives us the warm fuzzies. We love helping you. So please give us a call or a text if you're interested, 330-717-2689, or
KellySoldIt.com.
Thanks for listening.